Good morning. Thank you for watching another beautiful Lord's Day. Hope you can get out and go to church this morning. We've got our sick list. We got Ronnie Robinson, Nick Dutton, Pat Nichols, Doyle Duke, Judy Foster, Randy Burnett, Carson Powell, Junior McVeigh, Perry Wells, Brandon Swartz, Hunter Higgins, Sharon Armstrong, Brenda Thompson, Pam Brown, Jeannie Thomas, Ashlyn Hare, Ryan Sanders, Annalise Delvecchio, Bruce Lewis, Sandy Lewis, Lee Heath, Sue Alexander, Anika Hutchins, Crystal Chanel, Robert Pitts, Brittany Mingle, Doug Blair, and Denise Valeth. I think I pronounced that right. And Brenda Lemons. And we need to send sympathy to the family of Brenda Cunningham, and that is Benton Bartlett's sister. So if you can remember all these folks in your prayers and those who have lost loved ones. We've been talking a little bit here lately about heaven, and I got a little thing here that kind of follows along with that. It says in the 21st chapter of Revelation, John tries to convey to us in the best way he can how wonderful heaven will be. And you got to keep in mind that he is talking in human terms, and I'm sure there's stuff that's in heaven that we have probably never even seen or never even thought of. So, and he's trying to tell us how wonderful heaven will be. Even through inspiration, there's only so many ways of describing such a magnificent sight for the human mind and thought. A wall built with jasper, a rare jewel, clear as crystal and radiant. That's in verse 11. A city was pure gold, like clear glass. Foundations of wall adorned with every kind of jewel. How beautiful that will be. Revelations 21:23, and it says, "And the city has no need of the sun or moon to shine on it, for its glory is for the glory of God gives it the light, and its lamp is the Lamb." So Revelations 21:25, "And its gates will never be shut by day, and there will be no night there." For these verses, we consider the following. When it's dark outside, we are used to turning on lights to see where we're going. Also, a great deal of crime is committed at night because there's no light to expose the evil. Gates are shut to keep out things that can cause harm. In heaven, the gates are open, which suggests that there is nothing around that is evil. It's always day because God is the light. We're also focused on some time in Revelations on 21 verse 4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall they be mourning or crying, nor pain or any more, for the former things have passed away. We can get so zoomed in on this life. We see times of political unrest. We see times of civil unrest. We see hatred. We see death. We see loved ones with cancer. And we see family members who are not children of God. And that it gets us down. Thinking of heaven lifts our spirits. When I think of these verses above, I would be perfectly happy with a one-room apartment in heaven instead of a mansion. I would be very content if the walls of heaven were concrete instead of jasper. It would be okay if the gate was shut. All that matters to me is God is there. I will be with him for eternity, and anything in this life that has caused me grief or tears will be forgotten. There was a story about a sick man who turned to his doctor as he was preparing to leave the examination room and said, "Doctor, I am afraid to die. Tell me what lies on the other side." Very quietly, the doctor said, "I don't know." It says, "You don't know? You, a Christian man, do not know what is on the other side?" The doctor was holding the handle of the door, on the other side of which came a scratching and whining. And as he opened the door, a dog sprang in to the room and leaped on him with eager show of gladness. Turning to the patient, the doctor said, "Did you notice my dog? He's never been in this room before. He didn't know what was on the inside. He knew nothing except his master was here. And when that door opened, he sprang in without fear. I know little of what's on the other side of death, but I do know one thing. I know my master is there, and that is enough." So that's what we've got to think about. We've got to think about going to heaven. Won't it be nice to go to a place where there's nobody that is mean, and nobody that is robbing, nobody that is killing? Everything is good. There will be no tears in heaven. There'll be no sadness. You won't be tired anymore. You know, when we're coming up on springtime, a lot of people plant gardens and stuff, and you know, you have to go out there and dig in that old garden, and the old sun's bearing down on you. It's hot, and all them weeds just keep on coming. Whether you got anything growing that you want to eat or not, that don't matter. Them weeds is gonna keep on coming. You know, and in heaven there won't be no weeds. There won't be no getting tired. There won't be no being out in the sun and burning up, and there won't be none of that. There won't be no tears. There won't be no dying. You know, and there won't be no sickness. And man, I don't know about you, but that's the place I'm looking for. If you just look around in this world, there's so much bad stuff going on, and it just keeps getting worse. Me and a friend of mine was talking the other day. You know, do we think that it's worse than it used to be? And I don't know. It's always been pretty bad. You know, we got all this social media and all the, you know, internet, and you can look on there and find out anything about anything. And you know, all the bad stuff is going on, you know, just as soon as it happened. And so back in the day, you know, it might take 2 or 3 days before we heard of the bad stuff going on. So I don't know if that it's any worse now than it used to be. I just know that the devil is working. He's working on us. He don't want us to go to heaven. He wants to keep us out. He wants to take us with him. So these are a few things to think about. Think about heaven when you get down. Think about all of the good folks that have went on before us. They're in heaven right now waiting on us, and we've got to get there. We've got to do everything we can to do what God has for us to do, and God's got a plan for each of us. So keep that in mind. I want to ask you to please keep our servicemen and women in your prayers. Please keep our first responders in your prayers. Please remember our doctors and nurses and all the folks that keep us safe and healthy. Please remember all the sick lists and those that have lost loved ones. Thank you for watching. God bless, and see you next time.